It was actually, excuse me?
Close to the mic.
Closer to the mic? Okay. It was actually Shivananda's 100th birthday. He's going to pass it around, let the people look at it. And one of the things that we did is go to Rishikesh. We traveled most of India, went to many of the holy sites, and would meet Swamiji at various places. Sometimes he would have to take a car in advance, because we were mostly traveling by bus. One or two times he would have to take an airplane for great distances. Some of the photographs in this book show our pilgrimage to Rishikesh, to Master Shivananda's place, his room, and a bridge that was named after Shivananda. And why I was thinking about this is that Marilyn was talking about the children. And one of the greatest, most vivid experiences that will rest with me for the rest of my life was this plan that Swamiji had to feed the children on Shivananda's birthday. So what he arranged were trucks full of food, wrapped up sandwiches and little delicacy Indian food for the children. This was around a time when people used to hold hands, like across America. Well, for that day, between Rishikesh and Haridwar, the children all got out of school at that time and would stay by the side of the road as we drove along very slowly with these trucks, and we would feed the children. It was almost surrealistic. It was a memory that I'll never forget. Watching these little children all dressed from school, clean, beautiful, wearing the same clothes, whatever school they were, they had the same uniforms, and they were accepting this food, and they were in glee and in joy. And we did that the entire time. I'm not sure if it's 11 miles from Rishikesh to Haridwar, whatever the distance was. It's like a dream, a beautiful dream. That's what we did on Shivananda's birthday. On a more practical level, one of the people yesterday was talking about setting up a business where he's going to open up a yoga center in the financial district. Wow, talk about a challenge. Yeah.
I'll tell a little story, and I don't know if Marilyn will remember this or not, and my wife is going to kill me for this story, but sorry, Bertie. 1981, Swami Chandra, you and I were sitting in his office here. I don't know if you remember that, but I hope you don't. And so you told me, because my first wife, Adari, had died a couple years earlier, and you told me, you said, Chandra, God is going to send you something very, very, very special. Please do not do that stupid macho stuff and mess this up, because you will never get this opportunity again. So I said, okay. So I left out of the office, went into the Krishna temple that was here, the dome, which I modeled my home after, and I just sat in there and just began to pray and meditate and do a little pranayama and just open myself up to whatever you said is coming. I walked out of the door and physically bumped into my wife. I stepped back and said, I said, Marilyn, honey, you ain't working, because that's what I thought it was. Sorry, baby. So I stepped back, but it happened, and we've had, that was 1981, we've had 28 years, seriously, of absolute bliss. I didn't mess up too much, but she's here with me, and we have 6 wonderful kids. It's a magnificent family. And also, all of her kids, not mine, sound like those kids that you were with, you know. I'm going to talk about the power of yoga and when I first met Swami Vishnu. When I first started yoga, it was the late 1968, early 1969. Can't remember exactly because my mind is a blur from there because of the recreational type of activities I did with my mind in those days. Now, my brother's over here, Neil is laughing, but he's just as guilty as I am. And I'm going to set the tone for that time. A lot of people may not have been alive at that time, but it was not a lot of fun. We talk about the bad things to come, and we got past the 60s, then there's hope with the power of yoga and prayer and energy and light that we can make it throughout that time. In 1968, Robert Kennedy was assassinated. Shortly thereafter, Martin Luther King was assassinated. People were getting killed in the churches, and little children in Birmingham, Alabama. Civil rights leaders were being murdered and killed every evening on TV with some type of disrespect to humanity, the Vietnam War, and you name it, it was happening. And at the same time, they were flying around the moon, preparing for the moon landing in 1969. So I was just perplexed, trying to figure out where do I fit in America in the upcoming future. And as a black man, I just did not see it. So what had happened to me, I just reached such a low level of despair, I became a terrorist. And I mean a real terrorist. What I had planned, my brother didn't know, but he was my partner, was serious, very serious death and destruction and major league violence. I decided to declare war on the Richard Nixon administration and anybody else who got in my way, and we lived in Washington, D.C. And that was what you would call subecha, longing for the truth. So now, where do I go to get the way to go? I turn to terrorism because I've been trained in the military, the Vietnam War. Nothing's going on but violence. When they had a peace demonstration, the FBI people would come in the middle and start problems, and so it just was no peace anywhere. But what happened? My brother found the yoga center. God love you, brother. And we'll get to that point now. So he went to the yoga center, told me about it. We went the next day because I had been reading about yoga for quite a while. And went into the yoga center, and there was this wonderful, magnificent, spiritual light being called Ruby Blue, who later became Swami Neela Devi. And when we went in there, she just opened her arms and said, Om Namah Shivaya. Are you boys from the embassy? Because we were dressed in African garb. We looked like princes, but we were actually clowns. And so I said, how dare this little lady call me a boy? I am the leader of the black. What's wrong with her? So we go into the yoga center and we do an asana class. When the class was over, I was no longer a terrorist. I was no longer angry. I was no longer mad with anybody. I wasn't even black anymore. I was in bliss. And that was the power of yoga. When we left out of the yoga center, my brother and I, he's guilty, and another friend, we began to drive off. And the yoga center was in the heart of downtown DC, 1968. And we're driving along, and as usual, we lit up some recreational activity. And we drive a few blocks. My brother said, hey man, how do you feel now that you're smoking this crap? And I said, you know, that's interesting man. I said, it's gotta go. It's messing with my yoga. And we put it out. The gentleman in the back said, hey man, this yoga's gotta go, it's messed with my high. So we had about almost a half a pound of recreational facilities in the car, and we just threw it out the window in the street of Washington, D.C. The guy in the back, Mickey Dontine, he jumped out and got it, and we left him in the street with that filth. So one yoga class, the power of yoga, no more terrorists, no more angry, not even black, and no longer drug dealers. We don't know where we are, I mean, really. So what would happen when the people ask me, hey brother, where's the meeting? I told them at the yoga center. And so, pardon the expression, this would say, that nigga crazy, you lost his mind. But that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to lose my mind. That's what we're doing in yoga. We're trying to lose that mind. So anyway, I met Swami Vishnu shortly thereafter. He came to the yoga center, and I couldn't understand what he was talking. He was talking about some F's and yes and develop and LX City and all this kind. What is he talking about? But while sitting there, something began to happen to me. And I said, it was 1969 and a lot of recreational stuff going on. So I thought they put something in the water. I said, these suckers put something in the water to make this guy greater than he is, but that's okay. So I'm sitting there, and then what happened shortly thereafter while he was talking, something came down on me, very serious, very subtle. And it was just, an awareness came to me that this man knows something. And if I don't find out what it is for real, my life will never be the same. Now, I really have a problem. A couple weeks earlier, yoga saved my life. Now if I don't find a way he knows, my life ain't never going to be the same. So I'm like, what is going on? So I go up to Swamiji, and I talk to him. I say, sir, I'd like to learn everything that you know. I'm in a hurry. So he said, no, that I was in a hurry. So I said, he said, well, I'm going around the world. I said, well, I can go around the world. He said, you have money? I said, I can go around the world once. You never tell Swami Vishnu in those days, you have money. So he said, well, come to my office, bring the money, and do whatever it is to do until I get there. So that's what happened. I came to here in 1971, met Swami Vishnu, and met Swami Vishnudevananda, my great friend, who was an incredible human being, has done so much for this cause, so we're going to support him. So I got here in 71 and stayed to about 75. And one time while I was here, I've been a couple of years, and right in that spot right there, I came up to Swamiji one morning, and I said, Swamiji, I said, I want to leave. And he said, so I said, it's not going like a plan, but let me go on. And he said, why do you want to leave this beautiful place that I have provided to do yoga and learn how to help? And I said, well, I want to go to Washington, D.C. So then he said, well, why do you want to leave me? Now you may like, why do I want to leave him now? So I said, I want to go to Washington, D.C. He said, for what? I said, to save my people. So he said, well, who's your people? So I did like this, pointed to my arm, because I said, this is really not good enough. So I pointed to my arm and said, well, you know, pointed to my skin, and he said, that's not right. He said, every man, woman, and child, anywhere, are your people. He said, suppose some people on another planet, whose people are they? We are all one. And as I told Srinivasa this morning, the impact that had on my life was unbelievable, because then I realized all these songs were saying, I am not this body is not mine, and so forth, came to be an experience. I actually had the experience of oneness, and that just came from simply there talking to Swami Vishnu. So as I said that when I went up to him, I thought I knew everything, still do that, I think so now, but anyway, he taught me that. I mean, the thing about being with Swamiji, he was not only my beloved guru, he was a friend. He was a real, true friend. So this is what happened to me, the power of yoga, because it could change me from where I was headed with death and destruction, and not only saved my life, but it saved countless other lives. And that is the true power of Swami Vishnu, that he brought yoga to us all. And I just want to thank for giving us this opportunity, this forum, as Swami Vishnudevananda. And I want to thank everyone here. And as Marilyn said, we need to spread this light. We need to spread this energy. And also one other thing before closing, I want to say that I have been trying to talk to everybody at this camp constantly. I talk to them, hi, where are you from? When did you take TC? So don't feel that you're alone. You might know anyone. Just talk to people, reach out to people. I've met people to TTC in 71, 74, and 75, and on all over the world. A wonderful spiritual family here. These are your brothers and sisters. We are all one. Feel that and live that. And in closing, I want to sing just a little song. I want you all to sing along with me. Serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate.